guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on this Coleman KT196. We're going to be swapping the motor out for a 208cc. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and replace the governor, and we're also going to do a trial run. We're going to see how fast it'll run with the 196 and then how fast it'll run with the 208. So please stay tuned to see that, and please like and subscribe, and let's get to it. We're going to go ahead and do our first trial run with the 196 and see what happens. Okay, so our first trial run was 35.99 seconds. Alright, so we're back in the garage. I'll let this thing sit and cool down for a little bit because it's pretty hot from riding it. I'm going to burn my hands while I'm taking the engine off there. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this guy. This is the 208cc I was talking about. It's a CMXX. I know it's from Amazon. My father-in-law actually gave me this engine. So alright, let's go ahead and turn it around and get started on it. Alright, let's start by removing the fuel tank. Get the hose off. Need to put my tools up, they're scattered everywhere. Looks like I gotta take the exhaust off. Okay, here's the exhaust. Now I can get in here and get this fuel tank off. Fuel tank. Okay. Get the governor off here. See my hammer anywhere. There we go. There's the governor. Part of it anyway. Okay, so we gotta get this out of there. So I already checked, there's no oil in it. It's a brand new engine, so they ship them that way. Yeah, there's absolutely zero oil in there. We can get this off without tearing up the gasket. 13, 12 maybe. Yep. Tore the gasket a little, but I got some gasket makers, so. Go ahead. Have them take that. Valve cover off. set these separate so I know which way they go back in there. Not sure it matters on the rockers or the push rods, but I know it matters on the lifters. And the valves, I'm sorry. Okay, right. That one, the one on the right was missing the cap that goes on there. There's the cam. Left. Right. There's the flywheel. Now, should be able to get this crank out of here. There's a big old yucky spider in there. Nice fiddle back in there. Watch out for those things. Okay, now we can get this crank out. Okay, got the crank. Now we can get the governor out. Okay, here's the governor, what we need now. Here's our governor. Okay. Make sure we get this washer off here. You have to be careful because if you don't get the washers off there, they'll fall down on the crank. Then you'll have some major issues. So there's 3 washers. Okay. Got to get a tap and some bolts and we'll get these plugged. and then we'll start putting it back together. Alright, I found some screws and a tap. Let's go ahead and tap this. It's important that we clean out the crankcase. Let's take the stator off. Okay. Well, we got to find a tap for this one. Alright, so I got the first one in. I threaded it right here. And I had put a couple washers on there so it didn't come through, protrude to the outside where the stator goes, so it's not hitting the stator. I did put thread lock on it. I don't know if you can see it there. I put thread lock on it so it doesn't back out into the crankcase. Let's make sure I got it tightened down. Yeah, it's pretty tight. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and do the same at the top. Thread locker. Okay, that should keep that from leaking and backing out. So, all right, now we can start putting it back together. So, start with the crank. Cranks back in. Go ahead and pull the piston back down. Okay. Make sure you guys can see. Would be over there making a nest in the garage. Okay, so my phone decided it wanted to get full on space, so I had to delete some videos. Which doesn't seem like very much. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this cleaned up. Lifters back. go ahead and lube this up a little. Okay, and there's 2 dots. There's one on the crank right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, right there. Okay, we gotta line that dot up with this dot. Okay, our 2 dots are lined up. That should be it. We should be ready to put the cover back on it. So I gotta clean up all this gasket material and I'll put a new gasket on it and we'll put it back together. Alright, so we got all those torqued down. Move it back around to this side. Put our stator back on. Had to grind that bolt down a little more to get the stator on. Put our bolts back in there. Make sure these are right here. One longer than the other. Now our flywheel. Where's our fan? Our fan. What am I missing? And our nut. Pick our kill switch back up. Get our bolts for the cover. Let's get the rockers back in here. This one has a little cap on it. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's adjust the rocker. Alright, so I had to go in and delete some videos so I could free up some space on my phone. It was only allowing me to record a 3-minute video. So, alright, so we got the exhaust done. It was 004. Okay, that slides in there pretty easy. Alright, and then on the intake side, it's 005 to 007. So, let's go ahead and do the intake. Oh, that keeps doing that. Okay, there we go. Those are set. Now we're going to put our cover back on. And our 4 buttons. So, I forgot to put the coil back on here. Get some metal shavings off here. I couldn't find anything on what these are supposed to be gapped to, so I'm just going to gap it how I normally would a small engine. It's about the size of a business card. cover back on. Put the carburetor back on. Fuel tank back on. exhaust is back on. Let's check for spark. We got spark. Alright guys, this is the next day. I went ahead and took the exhaust back off of this because I have to change out the throttle and everything onto this new one. So I went ahead and took the exhaust back off. So we got to start by taking this rack off, and we'll start getting the clutch cover and chain and sprocket and belts and all that stuff off, and then we'll pull the engine. So let's go ahead and get started. Grab that later. Okay, so brass washer, clutch plate, clutch, and bolt. Now I just got to take the throttle cable off and the cover. Fill it. Okay, now we can take the engine off. First, I want to take this stuff back. I got to put on the new one. Be good to take this off now. Okay. Kill switch. Okay. Get this cleaned up a little. Pretty nasty in there. Okay. Alright, let's set the new engine in. Before we get too far, I want to make sure the clutch and everything's going to work. Alright, so I got the belt and clutch back on. Go ahead and tighten the mounting bolts. motor mount bolts are tight. Okay, let's go ahead and swap out this carburetor. Change out the fuel lines. Let's go ahead and get this fuel line changed out. Alright, so I got the new fuel line on. I had to make a new linkage for the throttle. I just took the old governor linkage and cut it down to make the new throttle linkage. So I might have to put a bigger spring on here so it doesn't get locked in full throttle. Basically, it goes on like that and it keeps that closed. When you give it throttle, not sure if you can see or not. When you give it throttle, it opens it up there. I just need a heavier duty spring, which I can add in a minute. Let's go ahead and get the screws back on this. Make sure it works. Seems to be working great. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a small hole in the cover here, and then hook this into the throttle there so it has an extra spring to hold it back at idle instead of full throttle. So just a safety precaution, just in case. Alright, so I got the new spring in there. Let's see it down in there, right there. So when I pull the throttle, it springs back. There you can see. See it in there. Okay. Now before I get too far, I'm going to put the exhaust back on here. And before I put the cover back on, I'm going to make sure it starts. So. Can't use that exhaust. Okay, so I had to put the exhaust off the old motor on here because this one wouldn't fit. It was hitting where the air cleaner goes. So I've got that new one on there. Let's get this one on and we'll see if it starts. doesn't interfere with the throttle. Let's put some gas in it. Should be enough to see if it runs. Okay, so I figured out what was wrong with it. When I was changing these bolts out for the carburetor, the gasket fell down, so it was pulling too much air in there. But now, all we got to do is our trial run and see what happens. Alright, so we got it completely back together. I got the rack back on it and the cover. Let's get it outside and see how fast it'll run. Alright guys, we're back outside. I'm going to go ahead and start this, and we'll do a trial run and see how fast it'll go. Okay, so it was noticeably slower. It was 47 seconds or 47:30. So I know what the problem is. It's the clutch. So the shaft is too short for the clutch, so it's not grabbing it. So I'm gonna have to take that back off there. All right, so I did a test run just to see. So what I did, if you look in there, you see that ring in there. I left it out because the shaft was a little short. But I put it back in there on this time, and then I added a longer bolt. So I did a test run, and it doesn't feel like it's any faster than the 196, but we'll do a trial run just to see. Shaved off the time by 2 seconds, which really isn't that much faster. But in the next video, I'm going to put a dirt bike carburetor on there and see if we can increase the time. It still won't burn out, but it'll do donuts. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next video. Please like and subscribe. Alright, I got the clutch fixed. Let's see how fast it'll go on the second run. Alright, welcome. Alright, I adjusted the clutch, and let's see how fast it'll go on the second run.